Hello, and this is another 7 Nights 2 video. I'm your host, Alexander Drago. Today we are going to go into my top 9 must-have, must-pull legendary units from the future. Now, I can guarantee you will be wanting these after this infograph. It is wonderful, it is amazing. So, without further ado, let's head over and have a look. Now, our first legendary unit is, of course, Len. She's finally getting the respect she deserves. She is an absolute beast for early game and for early people in PvP. The reason I put her on first is because she's our first character we ever see, and I had to give her that respect. Now, first off, I just got to say, all these are my personal opinion, but guaranteed a lot of people will agree with me. We're going to start with the first reason why she's here. It's her ultimate skill. Now, usually she'll deal a large amount of damage to targets in a straight line. It's an AoE, it's like a shotgun blast, but straightforward, like a beam of lightning. Which is distributed between all of them, and it has a chance to shock. All of her abilities have chance to shock. Great synergy with her mother. Now, the reason why she's the suppressor, on the new raid boss, which is Nestor Shane, not to be confused with the Nestor Disciple Shane, entirely different character, which we'll see later on in the video. Now, the reason why you really want her is, this raid boss, Nestor Shane, unlocks the new must-have PvP gear coming up, which is the attack speed gear. Crit was good, the attack was good, the defense penetration was okay, but you will definitely want this on all of your DPS characters. It turns them into an absolute machine. On top of that, her combat skills aren't that bad. Her skill 1 charges forwards for an enemy and deals an AoE around her, pulls targets in, and has a lovely chance of shock. Like I said, all of her abilities have shock. Her skill 2, Lena attacks in front of her in a semicircle AoE, which again has a chance of shock. Now, the combo skill for this is an additional extra damage to shock targets. Even more synergy coming up, believe me. Now, her skill 3, again, deals damage in a circle around her, which is another AoE, and reduces the target's movement speed, attack speed, and increases their own attack speed. So you put an attack speed set on her, you use the skill 3, she's hitting maybe like 4 times a second. It is stupidly good. And then to cut it all off, her passive. Now, she deals damage that ignores defense equal to a percentage of attack, usually around about 40%, against shock targets in her AoE range. Hence, every single skill, every attack, if they're shocked, they're going to take a stupid amount more damage. And again, definitely one of my must-haves, why she's number 1 on the list. Next up is our man Gillahan. He is our Tech Knight, he is our mage, he is amazing. We're going to start off with his ultimate because he's one of the reasons I put him here. Usually, giant beam of light from his gauntlet, looks like Thanos crossed with Iron Man. Beautiful damage, single target unfortunately, but the attack is based on his attack and defense. It ignores defense and reduces it. Now already, great ultimate skill, but the suppression on top, another guild raid boss. The Garden Dragon is such a pain without him. You will need him, otherwise you may wipe. I don't care how much defense you have, how much HP you have, it is a pain to do. So, Gillahan, ultimate skill, suppressor, great. On top of that, his passive allows silence resistance, which you may run into later on, a little bit of a pain, while increases his own defense, which increases his attack as well because of his skills. His skill 1, a single target, reduces the damage dealt and then he taunts. Now the taunt is 100%, which is very, very rare. I only believe there's maybe 2 more characters that has 100% taunt on their skill set. His skill 2 attacks the target. It is a damage based on both his attack and defense. Again, synergy with his passive and his ultimate skill. His skill 3 is it's a bit of a hit and miss. It gives you and allies a shield with strength equal to their defense. Now, usually it'd be your HP or your defense. This is entirely based on the target's defense. Could be good, could be bad. But in raids, it's better than nothing because everyone is building up their main character. So there he is, Gillahan, great tank, great silence resist, must have suppression even if anything else. Even if he's just under-leveled, he's there, he's good, and I would put him as number 2 on my pull list. Right, our next one is a bit of a surprise for you all, and I can't remember how to pronounce it properly, so we'll go on. Now, Zeke or Sieg, depending on translations, is another suppressor unit for the Ruler of Fear Guild Raid boss. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I am not aware of the Korea/global timeline, because as we've already seen, Rudy, Warrior of Light, the angelic form, was actually coming out later in Korea, so we got them early, so I'm not sure when they're all coming out, but Zeke should be coming out in about 3 months. Now, Rule of Fear Guild Raid Boss, again, an absolute pain, must have character for suppression purposes, even if anything else, but also a very, very, very good PvP unit. Now, his passive imposes fear resistance for all allies, that increases only his own defense. Again, more defense, more survivability, already a good character. His skill 1, he charges at targets, single target, but reduces defense, so debuffing on his skill 1, great. His skill 2, again single target, gives himself a shield while attacking, equal to % of his attack. Now, already, very, very strange skill 2. You only ever really see shield strength with HP or defense. The only one I think otherwise than him is Rare Rudy, that gets percentage of his attack as well. So, again, really strong, really powerful character. On to his skill 3, where he reduces damage dealt to allies and removes any debuffs from them, which is a big, big thing in PvP, as we all know. Shock, freeze, paralysis, silence, all of those gone. Now, he's a debuffer, he's a damage dealer, he is a support, he is an all-in-one package. You want him for raids, you want him for PvP, even some offhand damage in PvE. Again, that is Zeke or Zeke, depending on translation. There you go as my number 3. Now, number 4. Ooh. Number 4 is my personal favourite. Noho, our librarian, our voluptuous elf, our beauty incarnate. Yes, I'm a bit of a Noho fan. Now, as you can already see in the infograph, there's a little bit of an interest with Noho on the fact that she has no offensive skills. We'll get to that in a minute, but her ultimate skill is suppression. Again, another guild raid boss, Rule of Lightning. You will want it on this one. Believe me, regardless, I'm pulling it anyway because of the rest of it. Her skill 1 increases her attack 15 seconds. So she's self-buffing all the way, by the way. Her skill 2 increases her damage dealt for 15 seconds. And the skill 3 is crit rate and crit damage for 15 seconds. You're like, but how am I supposed to get any damage out of her if all she's doing is auto-attacking? Well, here's the fun part. She has an insane ultimate to go with it. When you use your insane ability as a single target, which is a bit of a downside, but it completely ignores defense, and her ultimate charges only by using her skills. Now you'd think that's a bit crap, but if you've seen how much her skills actually charge up, I'm thinking it's probably more like one rotation of her skills to one ultimate, one rotation of her skills to one ultimate, so every 15 seconds you're dropping an absolute nuke. On top of that, she increases her allies and herself shock resistance and combo chance. Shock resistance, again, bane of my existence inside PvP at the moment. Absolutely hate it, especially if you're fighting against legendary Len. Now, combo chance, if any of you have ever played it for a while now, you are realizing how much combo chance really affects your survivability. Combo chance is basically an extra attack, which increases more damage, obviously, but also builds up your ultimate bar for other characters. Evidently, as we said, Noho only builds up on her skill use, that's fine. You put her in an attack speed set though, ultimate attack into attack into attack into attack, she is again like a howitzer, just bang, 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 everything drops. It's why I'm going for her, she's my number 4, must-have character, there we go. Number 5 is Lena, our beautiful bard. Now this one's a bit of a special case. How do I explain Lena? She is a super healer, a support, and has a stupid passive, and is one of the best supports up until maybe like next year. Now her passive increases damage dealt by all allies. Again, bit of a weird one for a support healer, but you know, if they're dead, they can't hurt you, so it's always good. Now her skill 1, she deals damage to the target, a single target, but reduce the damage dealt by the target. So she's already increasing our damage, reducing their damage. Beautiful. Her skill 2 heals, and the best part is it's a heal over time. It's a regen effect. So it starts off healing percentage of her max HP to people, and then regenerates allies' HP every 2 seconds for 10 seconds, so 5 ticks of heal at I think about half of the percentage of what the main heal was. So you're getting 150% healing over 10 seconds. It's absolutely insane. Like, there's overhealing and then there's continuous healing, and in this game, both together just is stupid. Her skill 3, again, heals all allies by a percentage of their max HP, so it's no longer reliant on her HP. And essentially, you have a tag with, say, 40k HP, she's got 20, she's still going to heal their HP by the 40k and not hers. It also increases their attack speed and movement speed, so she's got the damage dealt increase, and then she's got attack speed as well. Like, I can see so many comps where she would absolutely slaughter enemies. And then we get onto her ultimate skill. Now, her ultimate skill gives you a shield with a strength equal to a percentage of their max HP. Again, a new thing for healers. It's no longer based on theirs, it's based on the target's HP. And applies a link effect. So, she's got this support, she's got the heal, she's got debuffs, she's got buffs. Again, a must-have healer, even if it's just for PvE. She will overtake your Karen half the time unless you really need a reviver. And that is why she's my next on the list. Lena, our beautiful bard. Next up is a bit of a spoiler. But you know how it goes. Sometimes you've got to spoil it to make everything look beautiful. Now, this is the Legend Plus version of Chris. And to put it nicely, you will need him. He is a PvP god. As you will see in a minute, it is absolutely insane. Right, so first off, we're going to start with his skills. His skill 1 is he becomes unstoppable and charges at the target. It's a single target damage, but applies death. Now, this guy is all about death, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Essentially, what death does is, when you hit an enemy with death, they start to lose HP equal to a percentage of their max HP every 5 seconds. I do believe it's for like 10 seconds depending on the skill level. Now, if they're hit a second time, while still having the debuff, and death is procced again, it is an instant KO. Now, you can run him with double tank healer and be the only DPS. He's got single target, he's got AoE, he's got double AoE, and honestly, I would be hella stupid not to try and pull for this guy. His passives, he gains immortality because every version of Crimson Spike gets immortality nowadays. It increases, I think it's actually crit hit and not hit probability, and resets the cooldown of his skills. So he's about to die, he's moved up all his skills, he goes immortal, he then goes skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, everything drops dead from death. It's absolutely insane. Again, with his ultimate skill, large amount of damage in AoE line, and again a chance to apply death. His skill 3 is a bit different, it's a bit more support and survive one. Again, an AoE attack removes buffs from enemies, and then applies fear. Now fear, again, you've already had fear attacking you before if you've gone through the story, reduces your speed and makes you run away uncontrollably for about 8 seconds. On top of all that, must have PvP. If you don't have him, you're going to struggle later on. This is Chris, Legendary Plus, and he is one of my top 5 most wanted legendary units later on. Next up is definitely another spoiler. The Legendary Plus version of Evan, aka Catastrophe. Now, you've seen this guy already in large armor in the story mode, so don't be surprised when you see him later on. He is a nutball. He will definitely affect the PvP meta, for the better, for the worse, we're not sure yet. I don't know what else to say for him apart from he becomes stupid. He has Catastrophe, which deals damage to target and will knock back them. It's a stun, and we set skill cooldown of number 2. Skill 2, he charges to the target and stuns them, and if they're stunned, take extra damage. So he synergizes to a stun target, it's beautiful. His skill 3, he becomes invincible, increasing his crit rate and crit damage, and will also heal HP equal to, I do believe again, it's usually 40% of his attack. So he's got a heal, he's got invulnerability, he's got a buff in one turn. Absolutely beautiful. His passive, he has a chance to remove buffs from targets and reduce the damage he receives while basic attacking. So if he's 1v1 dueling, he will more than likely win that encounter. His ultimate, he becomes invincible again, because obviously, why not? Invincibility is the new meta nowadays. It deals a large single damage to its target and also stuns them. So he's synergized with stun, He's got a lot of invincibility, he's got a little crit rate and crit damage, and just hits like an absolute truck. This is the Legendary Plus version of Evan. Again, a must pull for me, PvP orientated, but absolutely beautiful. He's also got another partner coming down the line, which we'll see a little bit later on. Our next unit is the one and only Nestor Shane. Yes, the raid boss becomes a playable character, and my god is she absolutely beautiful. Nestor Shane is still one of my favourite characters in the entire game. She is just absolutely beautiful in every single way. Her skill 1, she teleports to the target and deals damage, like every other Nestor, you know. But this one also removes buffs, reduces the attack speed of the target, and has a really nice damage multiplier. Her skill 2, she deals damage around her in AoE and pulls enemies towards her, so she also groups people, which is a beautiful for her skill 3, which again she deals damage around her and has a chance to inflict blind. Blind obviously reducing hit chance, which is why you have hit probability. At the early game, it pretty much means their next attack is going to miss you no matter what. It's absolutely insane. Her passive, on the other hand, when she is incapacitated, so crowd control, stuns, freezes, paralysis, she'll remove all the debuffs and give herself a shield equal to a percentage of her attack. Now, her attack goes sky high. Like, her base crit chance and damage is stupid as a legendary character. Her ultimate, on top of that, is similar to her Nestor Disciple version, where she'll deal damage, but she'll do it around her in AoE and have a chance to knock enemies back. So, stupidly big damage, knockbacks, and essentially she counters every other meta character that you've seen so far with her passive. Anything that has stun, anything that has CC, which is a lot of them so far, she'll wipe the floor with. She'll get shields, she'll get damage, she'll get buffs, and just cut them to absolute pieces if she's built right. That is Nestor Shane. She is a beautiful character, and why she's on my list. Next up is definitely my favorite, my final character, which is the long-time Moonlight Samurai Ace. He is a Legendary Plus character, so he is hard to get, but god is he worth it. Now, Ace is a bit of an interesting one, but goes perfectly with one of our other characters. Can you guess which one? If you go and put him with Legendary Plus Evan, because they both synergize with stun so heavily. Now, Ace's first skill, he charges at his target and deals damage in a straight line AoE. So he literally goes from point A to point B, IO slash, straight through, damages anything in them and pulls them with him. He then reduces the damage the target's defense and has a chance to stun. So all of that, skill 1, line charge, defense down, stun, and a drag. Like, who wants more in a skill 1? His skill 2 is just an absolute beauty to watch. All of his skills, so very well animated. I'm pulling him just for that fact, and he's a samurai, but his skill 2, it creates a rainfall of swords, so he will come falling down, deals damage around him in AoE, it ignores defense again, and deals additional damage to stun targets, and during the animation, he's completely invulnerable. Like, he can't be stunned, he can't be damaged, everything just goes, I'm just going to ignore it, I'll kill you with beauty. Absolutely amazing. His skill 3 is another sword technique. He basically puts a circle of swords in front of him, shoots them out in an AoE in front of him, and they remove all buffs from all the enemies hit. So, again, great against tanks and buffed up enemies, and any armor set that comes with it will be removed for those duration. Now, his passive is, again, an absolute beauty to go with him. His increases the hit probability, so negates the blind, which it doesn't seem like much, but later on you will be wanting him in it because you will be able to hit. Also, I believe there's some hidden multiplier with hit probability. I will find out later for you all. His ultimate skill is you just have to see it to believe it. When you see it, it's beautiful. It's like several million slashes and then just one giant slash of explosive damage. So it's a multi-slash technique that deals AoE damage and has a chance to knock back those hit, and during this attack he's invulnerable. Now this is like a 6-second ultimate, so in PvP you could just be sat there going, no, I'm just going to let them die, and then just drop an absolute bomb on them. That is why Ace is my final character of this event. Ace is just so good. I can't believe that we haven't actually used it before. It's absolutely stupid. And there is my 9 must-have legendaries for later on in the game. Now, if you have anything else you want to add to it, anything I've missed, please let me know in the comments, and like, subscribe, and comment if you've really enjoyed this, because I have as well. And I will see you next time for more 7 Nights content. I have been your host, Alexander Drago, and thank you. Stay classy and stay awesome. And I'll be back next time.